If you were to lose your engine, do you know how to think through that and how to deal with it?
I'm Jason Miller, a full-time professional flight instructor. On the Finer Points channel, you can join me as I bring you tips and tricks that I've learned from 20 years on the flight line. Hello aviators, welcome back to the Finer Points. In this video, we're going to continue working with Jeremy. You remember he's got a primary CFI. He's been working with me on how, filling in some of the holes and building out some of the basic aspects of good airmanship. And in this video, we're going to look at simulated engine failures and how to practice them in a way that would increase the probability of you succeeding if it ever actually happened to you in the real world. So just a review for you in flight training, we use the ABCs, airspeed, best field, check systems, declare emergency, and exit the airplane to help you kind of process the information. And I was recently flying with Jeremy and I asked him about that for two reasons. One, to kind of see how much of that he really knew, and the other is to give him a chance to sort of work it out in his mind before I reached forward, pulled the power to idle, and said, let's do this.
If you were to lose your engine, do you know how to think through that and how to deal with it?
It's been a while since we went over it, but first thing I would do is get to 68 glide speed.
Okay.
Turn my fuel pump on.
Good.
Pick a spot to land.
Yeah, best field. Where would you go now if you had to?
I'd go to this flat field right out here.
Okay. And then what would you do?
And then I'm at a high enough altitude for that area. I'd start to circle and then I'd try to bring the engine back on.
Okay.
So fuel pump on, mixture best power,
yep,
and start the engine check as I've got to a glide speed of...
All right, good. Let's practice that. We just lost our engine.
Okay, so glide speed.
When you go for the speed, don't pull up and zoom. Don't try to gain altitude to slow down. There has been some trigonometry done to show that you're going to get further across the ground if you simply hold your altitude and reduce your speed. So don't give anything away. Continue to increase back pressure and therefore pitch angle as you slow down, and trim for it so that when you get distracted, you'll be able to maintain the speed, but then you just follow the glide speed down. Also, survivability in a forced landing is going to depend on you not stalling the wing and landing as slow as absolutely possible. So in a perfect world, and no world is perfect, but let's go for it, right? In a perfect world, you always know where the surface winds are coming from, and you sort of think like a monkey swinging from vine to vine, right? Like, that's my spot, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there, but I'm not going there anymore. Now I'm going to this other spot in front of me, kind of like that. And you can play a game with your CFI where I always tell my students, you can ask me at any time, where would I go? And I should know. No one's perfect, but let's work for it. Some of this stuff is rote, right? Like checking systems and declaring the emergency. This is stuff you should practice at home. What Charlie Parker, the great jazz musician, used to say, practice. And when you perform, forget everything you know, right? So get that stuff ingrained. Check systems in this airplane. Make sure the fuel pump is on. Make sure you've checked the mixture. Maybe check each mag. Confirm the fuel's on both. Check left tank. Check right tank. Altitude permitting, do a checklist, right? All of this while gliding, and that's why you trim for your speed. Then declare the emergency. Mayday, 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 NorCal approach, Cessna 236 Sierra Papa, or whatever the heck you are. Engine failure, 5 miles to the south of Livermore, 2 souls on board, white aircraft, mayday, mayday, mayday. Repeat it, and then get off the radio. ATC is going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to distract you, but you have to focus on the real skill here. And the real skill is not that stuff. You might solve the problem via that stuff, but the real skill is what we said before, keeping the wing flying and landing into the wind, right? So part of what we're practicing here with Jeremy is to see how the fields change as you get lower. Are there power lines you didn't see? Is there terrain that you couldn't, make out, right? Is it really going to work for you? And as we get lower here, we find that his initial spot was not working.
I'm going to come down, circle, and this way. Fuel pump on, mixture best power. I'm at 2,000 now, so I can probably throw in the best power, right?
Yep.
And then I would...
I'll actually make that, but I'm glad you did that.
Then I'd try to start the engine. I
Okay.
would squawk 7700.
Yeah, that's the right one. Yeah.
And then if I can't get it squawked, and then Mayday, 106 Romeo Alpha going down next to San Andreas Reservoir.
Yep.
2 souls on board. And
All right, let's see if we can maneuver at least a little bit into this field to see if we would have made it or not. Is it still looking good to you, or are you seeing stuff you don't like?
so actually I'm starting to see stuff I don't like.
Okay.
Fortunately, there was a really good field. We just had to turn. We could see it's right into the wind. You can kind of see it here as we look through the back window. And the plan now is to draw in your mind the touchdown point. So you're literally going to draw a runway in your mind into the wind and work to hit that point. Most of the hitting of that point is accomplished by getting yourself on a high, tight base leg and shedding off altitude via flaps, the geometry of your approach. That is, do you extend the base or do you turn early? That's a great tool. And finally, a forward slip. So that's all part of the real skill, but if you get there early, you have to circle. On this first approach, Jeremy was not used to taking it as low as we took it. But remember, an examiner or a check pilot is going to want to see this down to an altitude where they can actually determine if you were in fact going to make it.
So I would pick that flat spot over there, I think.
All right, can we make it there?
Yeah, I think so.
Which way are the surface winds coming from?
It looks like we'll be landing into a crosswind a little bit.
Let's see if we can't get into a headwind, if at all possible.
So the winds are coming from over here, it looks like, by the way the water's blowing.
Okay,
That way.
there you go. So put yourself on
So
a
I
left
guess
base.
I'd come over here and I'll land right along the length.
All right, good.
Another thing that's going to help the survivability of an event like this is securing the motor and fully committing to the task at hand. So before you touch down, once you are sure this is what's next for you, you should shut the fuel off. After you use your flaps, turn the master switch off, all the electrical equipment off to minimize the possibility of a fire, and open the doors. They'll kind of stay shut. They won't fly open, but they won't jam on impact.
Let's see that we're going to hit this spot, and then we'll go around.
So right here I'd throw my flaps
Let's
in.
see it. Put your flaps in. Any other options available to you?
I'd side slip down.
Okay, let's see it. Very good. Let's go around. Full power. Full power. Pitch forward. Flaps to 10. Right rudder in there too. And kind of like a left-hand spiral, so just keep climbing around with the train. I liked the way you modified your spot. Did you see there at the very end? We probably could have got the flaps in a little earlier.
I should have went in earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to see Jeremy go around and try this again. We're going to practice the real skill part of this to get him some confidence and make sure that he can understand that I can actually land this airplane in that field. But there's a little ground shyness to work through here. And as we get back over the field, I'm telling him to turn, to circle. We've got 1,000 feet below us, and we don't want to end up too high again.
And you look at your altitude here, you're 1,000 feet up.
Okay.
I'd go one more circle here.
More circle, okay.
You can see right here, the bank angle stops, the airplane stops turning. So I took the airplane here to demonstrate just what was possible, what I was thinking about, and to help work off some of that ground shyness he's feeling.
It's changing all the time here. I'd bank steeper.
Now?
Yeah, here, let me show you.
Okay.
So I would keep this circle. So ideally, you'd want to say, I'm going to put my wheels down right here.
Okay.
All right, so you're circling in that abeam position. Good.
Yeah, 428 Echo Sierra, 4,600, down to Juliet.
immediately apparent where the wind's coming from.
3031, roger, radar.
I didn't mean for that to be quite that extreme. You get the idea, there we are.
Yeah.
So get yourself down to the altitude more like that. I put power in, but I didn't mean to. There we are. Now I'd use my flaps and land in that field.
All right, and then after this, I'm not going to show you in the video, but what we did was go over to Hayward Airport and start working on this in the traffic pattern where we can actually take the airplane down to a full stop landing, power off approaches, land the airplane on the runway, power off, glide to the landing, power off, glide to landing as many times as we can to help ensure that he really gets a feel for how the airplane glides and to know confidently that if this ever happens to him, he can go through this procedure and have a good chance of walking away from that forced landing. All right, aviators, that's all for this episode. A huge thanks to Jeremy for letting me publish his flight training to the internet. If you haven't seen all the bonus content on Patreon, please go check it out. There's tons of bonus content there, live hangouts with me every month, and that's a huge part of how I'm able to produce all these videos, so you'd be supporting a good cause. Also, a huge thanks to the sponsors. They're supporting a good cause. Remember that when you renew your AOPA membership, you should select Pilot Protection Services. Do all that YouTube stuff, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the alert bell, hit whatever else you have to hit there. Leave us a comment. That always helps people find us in the algorithm. And most importantly, beyond all that stuff, until I see you again, be safe and fly your best.